This story right here is going to be sort of like other stories I've talked about before when it comes to a certain group of people that are allowed to get away with a lot of things. And then when they come upon their big charge, then that's when they want to act. So this man's name is Stephen Havrilka. Havrilka is spelled Havrilka. And he has been charged with beating a hotel employee to death in Venice, Florida. I almost said Venice Beach, but Venice, Florida. I didn't even know if Venice, Florida existed. But the thing that got me about this story was not about so much of what he did to this housekeeping manager, but the fact that this guy has 19 felony convictions. And he's out here roaming free with 19 felony convictions. Now, had that been us, unless there was some that slipped through the cracks, we would not be out on the street. Hell, we get worse for misdemeanors, and this guy has 19 felony convictions. Let's get into it. Detectives say a convicted felon has been arrested for beating a woman to death at the Venice hotel she worked at in one of the most egregious recent crimes Sarasota County has seen. The sheriff's office initially started investigating the incident as an aggravated battery on Tuesday. Deputies were called to the roadway inn on South Tamiami Trail, and I probably mispronounced it, just after 10:30 a.m. for a report of an unconscious woman. When they got to the scene, deputies learned witnesses had found a woman severely battered and bruised in a hotel room. The woman was taken to the hospital where deputies say she later died. Shortly after they responded to the hotel, deputies were notified of a suspicious person later identified as 30-year-old Stephen Havrilka acting erratically near Alligator Drive in South Tamiami Trail. He was literally speaking in tongues, acting very erratic, combative, and was clearly under the influence of narcotics or some type of stimulant, Sarasota County Sheriff Kurt Hoffman said. According to Hoffman, it took 5 deputies to take Havrilka into custody under the state's Marchman Act that allows someone to be taken into custody if they're abusing drugs or alcohol and appears to be a danger to themselves or others. Stephen was taken to the hospital for observation. Sheriff Hoffman said detectives reviewed surveillance video from the hotel that showed Stephen enter the hotel room where the victim was found. Management at the hotel told the sheriff's office that Stephen had been staying in a room at the hotel for 6 days. Detectives then searched that room and, according to the sheriff, found evidence from aggravated battery. Hoffman said Stephen was uncooperative. Detectives determined he did not know the victim, later identified by the family as Tina Strader, according to the sheriff. I can only imagine he may have spent his days observing her at the roadway inn where she was employed and he was staying. During his news conference, Hoffman said it was Strader's husband, Gerald, who found her beaten in the hotel room. That's crazy. I couldn't even imagine what was going through his mind finding his wife in that condition. An arrest affidavit shows he tried to text his wife several times but didn't get an answer, so he went to the hotel to check on her. According to the affidavit, he found his wife unconscious and not breathing inside the room's closet with a towel stuffed in her mouth. The husband yelled for help, and another employee came into the room to perform CPR on the victim until emergency responders showed up. As a husband, I cannot imagine what this victim's husband is going through right now. Having tried to contact her, not being able to contact her, and then he was the one who found her unresponsive in the hotel room. The arrest affidavit says crime scene personnel found blood on the bed in the room where Strader was found, as well as on the towel that had been removed from her mouth. Strader had bruises on her head and face, as well as defensive wounds on her hands, so that basically means she was trying to fight him off. According to the sheriff's office, Stephen is a convicted felon who has 34 previous felony charges and 19 felony convictions, as well as 16 previous misdemeanor charges and 10 misdemeanor convictions. His previous crimes include vehicle burglary, criminal mischief, motor vehicle theft, battery, strangulation, and battery of a person 65 years or older, the sheriff's office says. So it seems to me that he just has a thing for messing with older people. The sheriff said Stephen has served time in prison 4 separate times. Now, this is a true menace to society right here. There is no other way to describe Mr. Havrilka. He's an animal, Sheriff Hoffman said. He also has tattoos that depict his certain symbols of white supremacy and his neo-Nazi alliances. The sheriff noted that at this point in the investigation, they don't believe the crime had any connection to white supremacy. And let me just tell you right now that the woman he killed was a white woman. It was a white woman that he killed. I just had to throw that in there because of the mentioning of that part, because some people were going to ask, probably going to ask, was the woman black? No, she was white. The sheriff called the crime one of the most egregious recent crimes the county has seen. As this investigation continues, we are committed to working with the state's attorney office to see that this man is put away for the rest of his life. Hell, if he was put away for the rest of his life or for a long portion of his life, it wouldn't have led to this. The fact that this guy was able to be out after having that many convictions, misdemeanor or felony, says a lot about how crooked the system is down there in Florida. But then again, at the end of the day, this is Florida we're talking about. According to Gerald Strader, Tina was the housekeeping manager and started working at the hotel in December of 2019. She was a mother of 4 and grandmother of 2. That's crazy. And like I said earlier, I can imagine being her husband and having to find my wife dead in her place of business and in the condition that she was in. Like, that's going to traumatize him for a while. And he probably wants to beat the shit out of this guy. Now, one other article I came across, I was hoping that it mentioned it, didn't mention it, says that the husband was wheelchair bound. So, that's crazy. So I don't even know if I could handle even being in the same courtroom as this guy when they actually sentence him, because I don't see how they're going to allow him to slip through this, but they let him slip through so much. But this one right here takes the cake. But see, this is, like I said, this is how crooked the so-called justice system is, where you are allowed, where this type of behavior, this element is allowed to roam free. But you have black men locked up for some goddamn weed, something that won't even harm their bodies unless they lace it with something, but it doesn't harm anybody else. But this guy did what he did to this woman, and a long list of other convictions over the years, and he gets to walk around free. And the one time that he's probably most likely going to get time behind bars for a long period of time is after he kills someone. This could have been avoided if the system down in Florida actually did what they were supposed to do. But like I said, at the end of the day, this is Florida we're talking about here. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you have not done so already. Make sure that you text the number that is pinned down in the comments below to receive notifications every time I upload a new video or go live.